Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Oh.
Today, we're going to be talking about affordable rooms in Cambridge.
Oh, cool.
So if you're looking to experience Cambridge life without, spending a fortune,
Right.
this is the deep dive for you.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a look at a guide from Move and Stay,
Okay.
and their website that's been around for 25 years,
Wow.
and they help expats and business travelers find short-term housing in Asia.
Interesting.
But they've recently expanded into other markets, including the UK.
Okay.
So they've got some advice for anyone who's looking for an affordable room in Cambridge,
Gotcha.
whether you're a student, professional, or just curious about living in Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
So what's interesting about this is that they focus on short-term stays.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see how their experience in these fast-paced Asian markets
Right.
translates to Cambridge.
Yeah.
So they start off by highlighting some different neighborhoods,
Oh, okay.
each with its own sort of personality.
I like it.
And they mentioned Cherry Hinton, Arbury, Mill Road, and Trumpington.
Okay. I'm familiar with a couple of those.
Yeah.
So Cherry Hinton, I know, is known for being very peaceful and quiet.
Yes.
So if you're someone who wants to escape the hustle and bustle of the city,
Yeah.
that's a good place to look.
You can imagine yourself in a cozy room in Cherry Hinton,
Yeah.
having a cup of tea in a quiet garden after a long day.
Sounds lovely.
Right. And then you've got Arbury, which is all about accessibility and affordability.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super convenient for getting around the city without, spending a lot of money.
And I think too, it's almost like you're choosing a neighborhood
Yeah.
based on your energy level.
Right.
Like if you thrive on that buzz,
Yes.
then Mill Road with all the independent shops and cafes,
Exactly.
that might be more your scene.
Oh, absolutely. Like, picture yourself grabbing a pastry at Fitzbilly's.
Oh, yeah.
The legendary bakery on Mill Road,
Mhm.
and then browsing the vintage shops.
Sounds like a good time.
Perfect Saturday morning.
Right. Yeah.
And then for those who prefer more of a modern vibe,
Okay.
there's Trumpington, which is known for its newer developments.
Yeah.
And I think that also might be a good option if you're on a tighter budget.
Makes sense.
It tends to be a bit more affordable than some of the more central areas.
Yeah, and this is where I think move-in stays experience with short-term rentals might come in, because they probably have a really good understanding of which areas offer the best value for money.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, if you're looking at it on a weekly or monthly basis.
That's true. I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
So now let's talk strategy.
Okay.
The guide really emphasizes starting your search early,
Right.
especially for anyone facing the academic year rush.
Of course. Yeah, because all the students are looking at the same time.
Exactly.
It's going to be so competitive.
Yeah, it's going to be chaos.
Total chaos.
So starting early gives you time to explore different options, and even potentially negotiate a better deal.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of negotiation,
Yes.
the guide has a pro tip that I really like.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to negotiate rent or request perks.
I love that.
Sometimes a polite and reasonable request
Yeah.
can go a long way.
Right.
Like if a place is just slightly over your budget, you could try negotiating for a shorter lease term.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It might give you more flexibility and a lower monthly cost.
That's a fantastic tip.
Yeah.
It's all about being proactive.
Right.
And exploring all the options.
Absolutely. And when it comes to actually like finding those places,
Yeah.
the guide really stresses using trusted platforms.
Mhm.
They specifically call out Spare Room and
Yeah.
university housing portals as good places to start.
Right. And they've probably dealt with their fair share of rental scams,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, especially in Asia.
especially in Asia.
Yeah.
So they know the importance of sticking with reputable sources. And these platforms can also really help you narrow down your options.
Right.
As to your budget, your preferences.
Yeah, you can filter by price range, by neighborhood, even by amenities.
Oh, for sure.
Like, if you want laundry or bike storage.
Right. Exactly.
And speaking of amenities, the guide also reminds us to really pay attention
Yes,
to
yeah.
what's included in the rent.
Yes. Is it bundled or?
Yeah, are utilities bundled in,
Right.
or are you going to have to pay those separately?
Because those costs can really add up.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And on that note,
Yeah.
the guide also emphasizes setting a realistic budget.
Mm-hmm.
And they even suggest building in a little buffer
Well, that's smart.
for unexpected expenses.
I love that they highlight this
Yeah.
because it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of finding a place
Yeah.
and then completely overlook those hidden costs. Like
Energy.
internet utilities, groceries.
Absolutely.
Like,
All those little things.
yeah.
And then there's the whole lease agreement situation.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit, reading through all that legal jargon
Yeah,
can be a bit daunting.
it is.
But the guide really stresses the importance of not just skimming it.
Right. You really need to understand
Yeah,
what you're agreeing to,
exactly.
especially when it comes to things like subletting policies.
Right.
So, for example,
Yeah.
let's say you find this great place,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to go back home for a month during the summer.
Yeah.
Can you sublet your room to someone else
Right.
while you're gone?
Oh, that's a good point.
These are the kind of details that you need to know up front.
I had never even thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's like a little puzzle,
Right.
figuring out all the pieces of the rental agreement.
Yes. And I think, too, Move and Stay,
Yeah.
with their background in short-term rentals,
Right.
probably has a lot of insight into these kinds of situations.
For sure, they've probably seen every possible scenario
Exactly.
play out with their clients in Asia.
Right. And speaking of seeing things play out, the guide also reminds us to always inspect the property in person
Yes.
before signing anything.
Don't just rely on photos
Right.
or virtual tours.
You need to get a feel for the space,
Exactly.
check for any potential issues.
Yeah, make sure it actually aligns with your expectations.
Right. Imagine showing up with all your belongings
Yeah.
and the room is half the size you thought it was.
Oh, that would be a nightmare.
Not a good start to your Cambridge experience.
Yeah, not at all.
So we've talked about neighborhoods, budgeting,
Mm-hmm.
lease agreements, property inspections.
Yeah.
What else does the guide highlight?
Well, they have a whole section on avoiding common mistakes.
Oh, okay.
And I think this is super valuable.
Yeah.
One thing they emphasize is the importance of considering location
Right.
and accessibility.
A cheaper room might seem like a steal.
Right.
But if it's miles away from everything.
Yeah, and you're spending hours commuting each day.
Yeah, it's not a great deal.
Exactly. You got to think about your daily routine. Like, do you need to be close to the universities
Right.
or your workplace?
Exactly.
Are there good public transport links
Yes.
or bike paths?
And let's not forget Cambridge's famous cycling culture.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, if you're planning on getting around on two wheels,
Yeah,
you want to make sure your neighborhood is bike friendly.
absolutely. Now, before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to reiterate one final point from the guide that
So-
we've touched on before.
Yeah.
Read the lease agreement.
Yes. I think we've drilled that one in.
I know, but it's so important.
It is.
Don't rush into anything without understanding your rights
Right.
and responsibilities.
It's all about being informed.
Yeah.
Protecting yourself.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about the perks of living in Cambridge.
Okay.
The guide does a great job of highlighting the city's unique charm.
Yeah. Cambridge is more than just affordable rooms.
Right.
It's a city bursting with history and culture and a vibrant social scene.
Imagine, strolling through the historic colleges,
Yes.
hunting on the River Cam,
Oh,
or
yeah.
catching a thought-provoking lecture
Wait.
at one of the university departments.
These are experiences that are uniquely Cambridge.
Exactly. And then there's the food scene.
Cool. The food.
Yeah, you've got everything from traditional pubs
Yeah.
to quirky cafes to international cuisine.
It's something for everyone.
There really is. And don't forget the markets.
Oh, yes. The market?
Yeah, the Mill Road Winter Fair is a local legend.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, with its festive atmosphere
Mm-hmm.
and unique crafts.
Oh, wow.
It's the perfect place to find a one-of-a-kind gift.
Okay. I'm adding that to my Cambridge bucket list.
Yeah.
So it's clear that Cambridge has a lot to offer,
Mm-hmm.
even on a budget.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Mhm.
between affordability
Right.
and experiencing all the amazing things this city has to offer.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From neighborhood vibes to budgeting tips,
Yeah.
lease agreements, and even the perks of living in Cambridge.
It's like we've given our listeners a little toolkit
Yeah.
for navigating the rental market.
Exactly. And it's not just about, ticking boxes
Right.
and following a checklist.
Yeah.
It's about envisioning the kind of life you want
Absolutely.
to create in this city.
And I think that's where Move and Stay's perspective is really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that finding a place to live,
Yeah.
it's more than just four walls and a roof.
Right.
It's about finding a space that fits your lifestyle,
Yes.
that allows you to thrive.
Right. It's about asking yourself, what kind of atmosphere do I want to be surrounded by?
Exactly.
What's important to me in terms of location and accessibility? How can I make the most of my time in Cambridge, even on a budget?
Those are the questions that are going to lead you to
Yes.
that perfect room.
Yes, that place that feels like home,
Yeah,
even if it's just for a short while.
exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into affordable rooms in Cambridge, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
Don't be afraid to embrace the adventure.
They like that.
Cambridge is a city that rewards curiosity and exploration.
Yeah.
So step outside your comfort zone,
Okay.
connect with the local community,
Yeah.
and discover all the hidden gems
Right.
that make this city so special.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Yeah, see you next time, everyone.